Here's how you can make your own delicious chocolate and hazelnut spread or homemade Nutella. It's nice and simple to make. All you'll need are your hazelnuts. I'm using about 250 grams of hazelnuts. And for that amount of hazelnuts, I'm also using 25 grams of cocoa powder, 150 grams of milk chocolate. If you want to keep it vegan, then you can just use a vegan dark chocolate. 30 grams of icing sugar and 25 grams of an oil. I'm using coconut oil and I'll melt that before I use it. And you can also add a pinch of salt if you like. First of all, you want to preheat your oven to 160 degrees. Spread the hazelnuts out on a baking tray. And then you want to roast them at 160 for about 8 minutes. Keep an eye on them though, because hazelnuts do burn quite easily. After 8 minutes, you'll see the hazelnuts have gone darker and the skin has started to split. So you can take them out of the oven and then you can tip them straight into a cloth. And you want to remove the dark outer skin. So to do that, just pick up the edges of the cloth and just give them a good shake about. This skin should come off fairly easily. So that skin's come off of most of them. Any other ones you can just try and remove it by hand. And you can see the darker skin on the bottom there. This skin's really bitter, that's why you want to remove it. And there we go. We've got most of the skin off the hazelnuts. It doesn't matter if there's still a few little bits, as long as you've got the majority of it off. So now we just need to let the hazelnuts cool down to room temperature. By the way, if you don't have hazelnuts, you can use other nuts like walnuts or cashews. But I do recommend hazelnuts because they pair really well with chocolate. Now they've cooled down to room temperature, you want to blend them into a paste. It's easier if you've got a food processor, but you can also do it in a blender. The one problem with using a blender is that the nuts, when they get ground, they keep getting stuck on the side, so you'll just need to use a spoon or a spatula to scrape them down. It takes a bit longer than using a proper food processor, but you'll get there in the end. They'll go to a fine powder to start with, but eventually the oils will start coming out and it will go into a paste. Here now you can start to see the oils are being released. So this is actually the process for making a nut butter. So if you want to make hazelnut butter, it's literally just this, roasting the hazelnuts and then blending them. You don't need to add anything else if you don't want to a nut butter. And now we've got the paste forming, I'm going to add in the coconut oil. The cocoa powder, and the sugar, and then carry on blending. So already we've got quite a nice smooth chocolate paste, and you could probably just use this as a chocolate and hazelnut spread, but we're going to add in some melted chocolate and make it much smoother. Now you could just melt your chocolate in the microwave, but it'll be much smoother if you do it over the hob. But you don't want to melt chocolate over direct heat because it will go grainy. You want to do it over bain-marie. So to do that, just get a pan with a small amount of water in it and bring that up to a boil. While you're waiting for the water to boil, get a glass or metal bowl and break up the chocolate into the bowl. Once it reaches the boil, then turn the heat down to low. So then we're just melting the chocolate over the steam. You want to make sure the bottom of the bowl doesn't hit the water, because then you'll be directly heating the chocolate and it will go grainy. This is the best way to melt chocolate if you want a nice smooth chocolate. There we go, nicely melted smooth chocolate there. And we can just add that straight into the mix. And then give it another blend just to make sure it's really smooth. So now it should be ready. Just want to give it a taste. Yeah, it's delicious. It tastes just like Nutella. Really nice, smooth, hazelnutty chocolate flavour. I'm just going to add in a little pinch of salt. And if you want it a little bit sweeter, add in a little bit more sugar and blend it again. But for me, that's perfect. So this spread is great, just simply put on toast. You can have it on pancakes or crepes. And it's also amazing in cookies. In the fridge, it should keep for several months, although it will never last that long. I'll have finished it way before then. Also, when you put it in the fridge, it should firm up a bit. So it's not as runny anymore, it's more like a proper spread.